You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and on today's episode, we're talking again with Cody at Wilde Arrow, Cody Jones. Yep. And in this episode, we get into some dangerous waters.
I think we have this is dangerous waters for us as well. We have different opinions.
We get into the best arrow rest. What's the best arrow rest out there? Now, these guys at Wilde Arrow, they get bows. They get every manufacturer bow in their shop. Yep. They go through, I don't know how many bows. They tune, set up, work on bows. I mean, that shop is packed. It's just like hour over hour.
They do good work. Like, it is, honestly, it is hard to find a good bow shop with good customer service, good reliability. It really is.
They know their stuff.
Yes.
They flat out are some of the best technicians that I know.
Look at Cody, how well of a shooter he is.
Yeah, Cody's up there in terms of competing as well. Yeah. So Cody's not just a technician, he's a shooter as well, competes. Now, the discussion today, you know, we already talked about whisker biscuits and some, but really they get into limb-driven versus string-driven dropaways, which they feel like we go into it like what, and we get various opinions from people in the shop, sort of throwing in their 2 cents. We had one of the guys that had his bow getting worked on in there, Elder Perkins, and he's in there, and he's Blake, and he's got his opinions. But it's in line basically with the shop, and they get into what's what, you know, and what the fail points are, why they like it. They try to justify their decision and in detail. I think it's an interesting show, and it's food for thought. Everybody, they just know. The thing is I'm mostly concerned with accuracy and reliability, performance and reliability. Like, I can't have it fail. I don't care if it's awesome, but it fails all the time. Like, I need it to be both. And so that's the discussion. It's a good show. Before we get into that show, I want to remind you that we're doing a massive giveaway for all you bow hunters out there. We're giving away a new PSE bow. We're giving away a dozen Black Eagle arrows. And we've got a Leupold rangefinder in the giveaway, an Initial Ascent backpack. We got Peaks equipment, poles, gaiters, and headlamps.
And obviously Mountain Ops product.
And when you use the code GRITTY right now, not only are you entered to win the big prize package, but you get 30% off and free shipping between now and July 31st. So get in there, stock up. They don't just have supplements. Everybody needs lots of Ignite. But they have more than just supplements. They have the
hats, the shirts, the clothing.
Yep.
I mean, they have
workout apparel too, shorts and stuff, but they have some technical stuff in the merino wool category that I've been using for a long time as well. So check out all that stuff. Use the code GRITTY over there. Get yourself 30% off and get yourself free shipping and enter to win this big prize package. Yep. Also, check out Stealthy Nutrition. I'm loving the immune probiotic that Stealthy has. The E-Charge electrolytes, they're super clean, super healthy. Yep. I mix that with a little bit of Ignite.
See, they don't have the trail packs yet. They're coming out. So I just always let Ryan pack the full canister. Like, hey, can I get some of that?
Yeah, get steal scoops of Ryan's E-Charge.
Then I would pack it.
And it's sugarless, you know, and then you can mix that with your pink lemonade or whatever from Ignite, which I do all the time. Ryan would call that blasphemy, but I love me some Nootropics blend and some tastiness. So I'm going through a what do you call it? A withdrawal right now.
Yeah.
Because hunting season's coming up, so I'm trying to cycle off of Mountain Ops for at least 4 to 6 weeks, and then when we hit the hunts, man, I'm diving in. So just makes it that much more potent and effective. So I'm on a caffeine-free for the past 5 weeks.
He's grumpy, guys. He's grumpy. No,
it's so true. I am so mean for the past week and a half. Like it's terrible how addicted to caffeine or accustomed and how much it makes a difference.
See, if you're just nice like me, you don't have that problem. You can kick caffeine like it's nothing, you know?
Oh, yeah. When you're 25, you get away with a lot of things.
It's true. It's true. I notice the older I get, the harder it is to get rid of the belly fat if you
kids
are
that are
crap,
animals and wild Indians.
They keep me young.
You got some wild ones. So, Anyway, use the code GRIDDY over at Stealthy Nutrition. Check out those products. Get yourself a glassing pad. Get yourself a rifle cover if you don't have one. It always helps us out when you use the code GRIDDY over there, and it helps Ryan and Hillary out too. It's been fun to build this little community that we're building, and it helps him fund things like the Western Hunting Summit, which isn't as lucrative as you might think. It's really
a big deal.
It's really a labor of love.
It is, and the people that you get there, though.
So is any career in the film hunting media, film industry, podcast. It's not we're not rich, folks, but we are rich in lifestyle.
Exactly.
So check out. Did I say Peaks? Use the code GRIDDY over at Peaks. Trekking poles, gaiters, the headlamp. Awesome stuff, created for hunters specifically. Go Hunt is working with us a lot. We have a couple of films that, if they're not out by the time this podcast drops, they're coming soon on the Go Hunt channel. That's the plan, on their YouTube channel. A multi-part series with Pedro Ampuero, Brady Miller.
It is hilarious.
And Ryan Lampers.
It is awesome.
4 experienced and skilled hunters, fit, like to get deep, go hardcore. And then it's 4 manly egos.
You think about this. You got 2 introverts in Brady Miller and Ryan Lampers, and then 2 guys that are very outgoing and funny and want to joke around, and there are some tricks that are played.
Oh, it's just constant. Ryan and Brady have their insults that they wield as well. But yeah, Pedro and I.
Pedro is a boss.
Yeah,
from what you see in the film.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So you're going to enjoy that. Just look for that on Go Hunt. But also, Go Hunt's been a great partner of ours. They've rolled out their new Go Hunt map system. And it's their digital maps. Everybody should have more than one digital map system. So if you already have one, it's worth the investment for another one. This one's going to give you things that your existing map systems don't give you. It's called the Explorer membership. It's $50. I think if you use the code GRIDDY, you save some over at Go Hunt. And what it does is gives you like satellite imagery that's second to none, your ability to share and download content, gives you all 50 states for that one low price. It's the reliability and stability of the platform is getting better every day as the teams are just crushing on it. We rolled it out a few months back, and it's just improving by the day.
And I've heard too, like from a lot of people that have commented or whatever, and they've talked about Go Hunt's customer service, and it is incredible, I guess.
So check it out. Use the code GRIDDY over there. So enjoy today's episode. Let us know what you think. If you're in the market for some arrows, I'm using Black Eagle X Impact, but you can also check out Valkyrie Archery, and I think you save 10% if you use the code GRIDDY over at Valkyrie. And I'll show you right now what I got right here. I have these Valkyrie Broadheads, and they are these, let me see, I'll get it right here in focus if I can. For those that are watching, I'm using the vented. They got the jag wax on them. These things are like so ridiculously sharp that it's scary. They blow through bone. I know I've been watching some podcasts with the Ranch Fairy, and I love that dude. I like his philosophy. He has the single bevel 2-blade setup, heavy arrows. My arrows are around 510 grains. With a 20% FOC and these 200 grain vented heads. They fly like a charm. And he talked about this the other day on a podcast that I thought was interesting, where they talked about why a 3-blade versus a 2-blade. I'm not so sure that it's he's like, don't get a narrow tip, but I have blown through femurs, blown through elk, blown through deer with this head, and it's unreal what it can do. So I'd like to know a little more about this particular head in comparison to the Cut on Contact 2-blade that he was showing. I love them both, but if you use the code GRIDDY over at Valkyrie, you can get yourself these heads. I love the Valkyrie system. It's devastating. So check that out. And without further ado, we'll jump into the podcast. Let us know what you think. Leave us a comment below. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as always, stay gritty. All right, folks. Welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and we're back at the Wilde Arrow Archery Shop. And I've got Cody Jones here. And today we're going to talk about his favorite arrow rest and why. And I expect a good argument, Cody. I expect a good argument, like, sell me on what your favorite is and why.
I can't. They're all good.
He likes them all.
I like
You do not like them all.
There's two. Two brands, multiple models.
Okay, let's talk about that. Tell me, what is your favorite arrow rest?
I have two.
But hang on before you proceed.
Okay.
Brace yourself for the hate. Okay, you're gonna get hate. You're just going to.
Every time you
There's
put
no way around
anything on social media, it's like,
and
hey guys, I think the sky is blue. You're wrong.
You're also going to get lectured on how wrong you are. Okay, so just get ready for those. So this is an opinion. This is based on what? Years.
I'm older than you think.
Okay.
I started shooting bows way back.
Okay, so you got some experience, and basically you install these things on bajillions of bows.
Bows every day. I don't even want to know how many. It's unreal.
Okay. So tell me what the favorite is and why then.
I have two favorites. Can I have two?
Yes, you can have two.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I
guess. If I'm 50-50.
Okay.
If I had to pick one for the rest of my life, I mean, I like QADs and I like Hamskea. And I know that's not okay, and that's going to get tons of hate because you just can't like them both because they're two completely different things, and one's way better than the other one, and yada, yada, yada. But here's my basic rule of thumb for me. How much are you going to shoot? How crazy are you going to get? How good of a shooter are you?
Yeah.
Most people can't even tell the difference. Let's be honest. I can't probably even tell the difference. I've shot groups that I was like, man, I wish I could do that every day with a quad or QAD, and I've shot groups with a Hamskea that I felt the same way. So ins and outs of these two rests, they're both different, right? One's a limb-driven, one's a cable-driven. Here's my opinion on that, and then I'll kind of answer the most common questions that people are going to have on those. Okay, here's the problem that people are going to say. So here's a Hamskea, for example, right? I got this big hunk of thing hanging out right here, which I goofed and didn't put his rubber thing on. I have this big cord hanging out right here, right? Well, what if that gets caught on something? What if that gets caught on the brush? Or what if you cut it? Dude, if you cut this while you're out hunking, you did something really aggressive because I've never caught that on anything. And I guess I'm a little bit more aware of it being there. But if you take this, for example, I think Blake, he doesn't have the two-piece, but I can use this as an example. If I was to throw that quiver on his bow, it covers a majority of that rest. So if I was to fall and whack that, I got to go through my arrows or get into that nice little groove there to get to it.
So it's tied to the limb there. It comes on up.
Yep.
And the argument is that there's some vulnerability with that string.
With it being, look at all that exposed string.
Okay. Opposed to it being tied to the cable or something?
Yeah. So that's the argument is, look at all that cord being exposed. It looks obnoxious. Cool.
Does it?
No, I think it looks sleek.
Kind of looks cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. If you would are actually, so you're supposed to put this on. I forgot. But anyway, so that's the argument with that, right? It's too exposed. There's too much going on. There's too much cord. Here's the caveat to this. The nice thing about that is, like what I'm doing right now. Okay, say we're in the field. I just cut this. It's broke, right? I can pull this off. I can grab a new D-loop, which I would usually just carry a light little piece in my backpack. It's not a big deal. Or leave it at camp if you're not too far away from camp. And I can go like this, and I can do that, and I can tie a new one on literally in the field while I'm having lunch or sitting at camp. Okay. I don't have to have a bow press. So yeah, it's big and it's obnoxious, but it's so easy to redo and tie. And the timing of this rest, it's critical to some professionals. They'll tell you they want it to fall at a certain place on your arrow shaft to get optimal flight. But for me, I've played with that a bunch of different times. And to be honest, all you need to do, right, if I have this cord set with this plunger or with this rubber, which is not only takes out vibration, but it actually acts as a spring. If I pull this cord tight, okay, if you look at this rest, when it's not hooked up, the rest is vertical.
Yeah.
Okay. When you pull the cord, you hook it up properly, the rest becomes flat, right? As long as that rest is flat and there's no bounce back, it will function and you will shoot fine and your groups are going to be the same and your impact didn't shift a whole lot. Now, if you're a professional, maybe you see 3/4 of an inch. I'm not that good. So if I put that down in the field, I redid that, I re-pulled that cord tight, and it's down like that, I'm good to go.
Okay.
I'm hunting again.
Yeah. That's a pro.
It's a pro. That's the pro. So yeah, is this exposed? Sure. I've never cut one, knock on wood. But that's the pros and cons.
What about what Blake said, Perkins, about the drop speed?
Yes, so that's where I was going to get with the QAD. So the biggest complaint with like QADs,
where is
we got our sample over here, you know. blockades over here with this sample.
Show me this QAD.
Yeah, look at this. Look, we got this one right here, Blake. We got that. So with QAD, okay, the way that these function is the draw cord, when installed, is going to hook to your down cable. So as you draw the bow, the down cable is going to move downward. It's going to pull the rest.
Cable-driven.
Yep, it's cable-driven. It's going to pull the rest down, and then when you're ready to fire and you shoot, it's a letdown. Sneaky, huh? When you let it down, it knows the difference between a letdown and a shot. When you pull this all the way down, it comes to the full power position. Shoot fast enough on a shot, it'll fall. The biggest complaint with any any cable-driven rest is, well, what if my cables stretch? What if my cables, pull that out of there, I need that. What if your cables stretch and move?
Mm-hmm.
Will that affect the timing of this, causing this not to function? Again, I have never seen that happen on any of my bows. I don't shoot always aftermarket strings and cables. I've shot a lot of stock strings and cables. I've never had that move so much in twist rate or stretching that it's ever caused that to not function.
Okay.
Is it a possibility? Absolutely. On certain rests, this material that they use in the rest itself, that material could be the problem. This is probably more likely what stretched than this. Okay. That takes a lot of movement for that to not function. It's usually in the cord itself. So I'd say yes. If you're going to have a cord, a cable driven, make sure the cord of the rest is good material. That's where that happens. But again, I've never had that happen to me.
Yeah.
A lot of people between these two rests, if you look at them from the backside, the containment zone, a lot of people still love the QAD for that when we're talking.
Because let's talk about it, because what happens with the Hamskea is it comes up. It's always in a down position.
It's going to be sitting like this.
And it comes up when you draw. And then you fire and it
pulls
drops.
It back down.
But the QAD, you raise it.
Yep. I can either have the cable pull it and it's going to pull it and it's going to function it up like this. You fire, it falls.
Or you can lock it into position, make it already
just like that
up.
Yep. And then it sets it to full
and it
draw
kind of
and it'll
contains the arrow shaft a little bit. So which contains the arrow better?
Smaller window here, more room here, because you got to think that's how that's going to be all the time until you're at full draw.
So the QAD actually has a tighter containment.
It does. Yep. And a lot of people, that's their deciding factor. They want the containment of this, which it's nice. I've hunted with one for years. It is convenient. I lock it up. I don't like crawling all over the place with an arrow nocked, but if I am in my window of opportunity, I've got an arrow nocked, maybe I need to take a step over a branch or over a log or something, I have a small containment zone that the arrow's not going to bounce around.
Okay, so that's a pro with the QAD.
A pro. Yep.
In a way. Tell me about the time that the arrow is in contact with the rest, like Blake was.
Yeah, so there's theories out there, and again, these are all theories because it's really it's so hard to Blake's like, it's not a theory. It could be. So this typically does stay up longer. You are right, 100%. The whole reason of a limb driver is so that it will stay up longer and support the arrow shaft longer.
Yeah.
This falls extremely fast.
Okay.
Right? So this is going to fall fast.
Yeah, so it just makes basic logic. The limb is moving a lot slower than the cable. Yep. So the spring's going to...
So think of this, Blake. I'm going to blow your mind.
Blow my mind, that guy.
Right? So if your arrow is on that rest for a very long time, that is a lot longer time for you to make a mistake. Does that make sense?
Kind of like a brace height.
Kind of like a brace height thing.
But we're all
So
talking fractions of a second.
We are.
So
we are. We are.
That's one of my questions. My cutting to the chase.
Yep.
Can you tell a difference in accuracy? Do you have champions running both setups?
There are. Yeah. So there's a couple pros out there that are hunters, and they also shoot on the Target 3D circuits. And there's a video on YouTube he posted of a specific amount of time he would like this to be on the arrow shaft and then off, right? And so what happens is if it's on there for too long, that's more time for you to make a mistake because it's still in contact with this and you're still influencing it.
Yep.
If it falls too fast and it doesn't have support for long enough, now it doesn't have enough support for long enough. It's going to come off and it could come off floating around. So If you just set this down with enough tension to where it's flat, your cord's not like super, super tight. It's just enough to where this is down. That arrow rest is falling somewhere on this Hamskea towards the first, somewhere towards the middle to the first, 6-8 inches or somewhere in there of the arrow shaft is where it's falling, right? Somewhere, middle to forward is usually where it's going to fall when you have this set on. QADs, they get that arrow coming forward for, it's not very long and it's out of the way. It falls. So you're right. Support for accuracy is a good thing. You're giving that arrow more support and guidance in hopes that you get more accuracy. But if it's on there for too long, now that's just a lot more time for you to make a mistake.
But just at the end of the day,
yep, more support.
Can anybody tell the difference? Like my level of archery skill?
No.
Is it going to make a difference?
No. Like I said at the beginning, I couldn't tell a difference. I shoot.
And we all know how good I am.
You're welcome for that, by the way. You've had lots of influences from lots of people.
Yeah.
No. And that's where it comes back to my point and why I can't decide. I have some of my older Hoyts have the QAD Ultra Rest on there, and I've had it on there for years, and it works. I shoot phenomenal groups out of it. I shoot as good as I would ever expect me and that equipment to shoot. And then this does the same thing. So
if you had to choose Hamskea or QAD, you had no choice. Gun to your head, you got to pick one.
You can't do that. That's
which one?
I would probably choose Hamskea solely because everything is more machined. When you go to that, where's that QAD I had bebopping around here?
Hey, everyone has a Hamskea bias here.
Where did I put that? That thing. Let me hold that. Give me that. I need that thing. Yep. So this works great. The guys at QAD are awesome. I've got to meet them. I've got to sit and hunt with the president. We just ended up at the same place. And Soup Dan is a phenomenal dude. He really cares about his product, and he makes a great product. Lifetime of the rest, though, like I said, this has a lifetime warranty. That has a lifetime warranty. But if it's like end of the world, zombie apocalypse, I'm never going to get parts for it again. I have to have it for as long as I can survive.
Yeah.
This is machined metal.
Mm-hmm.
This is plastic.
Yeah.
That right there, that's the winner for me. Is everything in this is sealed. All the bearings are sealed. Probably not going to have an issue, but launcher's metal.
Blake.
Components are metal.
Well, you're shaking your head over here.
Well, plastic is a no-go on anything, I feel like.
Yeah. So I'm agreeing with you. Hamskea. Yeah.
Cody.
Because plastic is bad.
A lot more repairable in the field if you absolutely need to.
Yep. And it's harder to bend this if you fall on it. You're running from that zombie and you fall, right?
So tell me, what about the containment issue? Because for some people, they want this. They want that tight containment.
I know. Here's the deal.
Some killers would argue that all the stuff you're talking about with the Hamskea is a deal breaker when it comes to having their arrow on their bow.
We're getting lazy, Brian. Here, watch this. I'm going to show you guys something. It's revolutionary. And no, this has never, ever been seen before, ever, in any bow, even the old bows.
All right.
Okay? Watch this. You put that on there, right?
Yeah.
Hold that down for me. I'm going to use your beautiful hands. Okay? Go. Come on. We're in the down position. Watch this. Oh, my gosh. My arrow's not going anywhere.
That's a nice arrow containment.
Look at that. Watch.
With that finger.
It's removable.
Yeah. It's true.
It's flexible.
It is true. That's what I do. But I do put my bow on my lap or my chest when I'm butt crawling into, a buck on a slope.
Yeah, you're right. That's the deciding factor right there.
But I run the Hamskea because actually I think it's got real tight containment actually, and it's freaking quiet.
Right here.
When that arrow bounces around, it doesn't make any noise in that
No, if you
chamber.
felt them right, like right now, look, it's hard to hear, but that can make noise. And I showed you my rest,
True.
so I don't have this up. But
mine's all fuzzy and warm and
watch this.
Quiet
This is really easy to do. I
put
just put my finger over it. Right now, laying the bow down and doing a bunch of crawly stuff. Sure, I get it. Put a little bit of felt right here.
That's what I have.
It's going to sit right against that. Just felt anywhere that can touch. It's not a huge deal. But honestly, I do this a lot. We used to do that on the old rest. That's what I was making fun of. It's never been developed before because people were like, well, I like the QAD and the Whisker Biscuits because I don't have to put my finger up there. If that's the end of the world for you, life is hard.
Well, is the trade-off worth it? Having to do that for the other aspects of the rest.
Again, this is why I was 50-50 on my favorite one all in all is because, durability, Hamskea for sure. ease of use, it is sometimes nice to throw the QAD up, just click it up real quick, set it down, and it's right there, and pick it up, and it's right there.
What throw a curveball in there? What about the IMX with the dovetail mount versus the screw in the burger hole? Some guys, if you fall on the rest, it could move that rest. Now your rest is out of time. The IMX is a clamp system. So Quad has got it nailed there.
Yeah. Having the smaller clamp is great, but it still has a more exposed launcher. I'm with Blake.
Well, and the thing is, next year, all the new bows will have an integrated system with the Hamskea.
They better.
You won't have this here, Cody.
Correct.
Yeah, my new bows have it.
Yep.
For the Epsilon.
Like the new Omen that PSC came out with. It has a screw thing where it doesn't have this big chunky bracket out. So it will be just like the Q80.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
inline, more durable, more machine work, better launcher protection. I mean, yeah, pros and cons. Hamskea's probably going to out edge my QAD. But if I had my bow that I like, some of my older Hoyts, like my Hoyt Defiant, it has a QAD. I have no problem grabbing that bow and going out and having confidence.
Yeah.
But I'm also aware of that fact, and I'm not going to be as hard on that, right? If I fall, accidents happen, but if I'm falling, I'm going to try to like put my face in the way before my rest gets hit.
So before we finish this thing, what are the failure rates of each? When you've had guys come in, you deal with tons and tons of dudes coming in with their bows and gals.
Yep.
What's the storyline between the two? Do people experience a higher degree of failures with either one, meaning like the launcher doesn't come up, it freezes in below 0 temps? Like, what's the story?
Yeah, as far as like, for as many rests as we sell of Hamskea and QAD, the failure rate on both of them, Jay, would you agree the failure rate on both of these rests, Hamskea and QAD, for as many as you sell, very low? Very, very low.
If we sell 500 quads in a year, I bet we have 5 or 10 come back in with a problem. But most of those are older generations that have been out, and the guys have shot for years.
Years.
Yeah, pretty low failure rate. But those are, out of all the rests that we've shot through all the years, those are number 1 and number 2 for sure.
Yeah, Hamskea, the failure rates on those I wouldn't call it a Hamskea failure. I'd call it a user error. They didn't have this down properly. They messed with their rest tension. They didn't have that. They don't really fail. Can you get bearings in them that eventually will wear out? Yeah, but again, like Jay said, it's years and years down the road.
So for years. I shot the Prophecy by AAE.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that? Because Bodie just won Vegas with something like that, didn't he?
So
I saw it on his hunting bow.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of AAE stuff on Bodie's. He shoots a blade rest. I believe, for Vegas type stuff.
Okay.
I hunted with the DOA, the AAE DOA.
Yeah.
Shot my biggest deer of my life to this point with that rest.
I liked it.
Yeah. Launcher on that one was fragile. Again, plastic launcher.
Yeah.
The mechanism of the spring inside.
My issue was that the launcher would wear down and get a groove in it.
Yes.
But then they came out with the new cover, and it doesn't seem to be doing that.
Yeah.
The new,
so
it's
lot
kind of janky
rests,
looking.
Yeah.
Like the fix
You'll see
was
it,
shocking.
You'll see it even on Hamskeas. You'll see it on QADs. All arrow deliveries are a little different, and you'll see one of those side of the rails get rubbed a little bit more than others. So the more the durable launcher is, the better off you're going to be with that. And I did see that. So the plastic on those AE rests was very, very fragile. It's very thin and very easy to abrace.
And I asked Bodie about that, and then I looked at his, and the new version has some sort of clear plastic cover, which then prevents the abrasion from occurring.
From there, I shot. So the other one is the AE Pro Drop.
Yeah,
which is
I shot that too.
Is the limb-driven version of their rests.
Mm-hmm.
I know Dud uses one of those from on his knock-on stuff with the AE. He's got a lot of Pro Drop stuff with his, and so I had that before, a lot of people even knew what they were. And it was a great rest, but when it came to this feature here, you could, if you didn't have anything under this or it wasn't set up just right, you could just push that launcher beyond parallel. And the spring systems just weren't quite as durable. Hamskea's beefier, for sure.
Well, the containment was better, right, on these other ones than the AAE, because the AAE didn't really
huge
have
whale
any,
tail, big
just
open hood. Yep, for sure.
And then you had to remember to raise it.
Yes.
Like if you didn't raise it, it doesn't raise automatically.
Yeah, on the DOA and your prophecy.
And then you're hosed.
Yep.
You're just shooting into the rocks.
And a lot of people would just click them up. Yeah, they would forget, and then they would click it up, and then they would grab the launcher and like force it down and break it when you're supposed to just roll the dial and it fall.
It was pretty dang sweet though in like negative 15 degrees and freezing ice rain. Like a bunch of my buddies all had their launchers freeze up. In Ohio.
Yeah.
Mine did not. I didn't have to knock the ice off of it. It just would be ready to rock. So
I think a lot of rests nowadays in today's day and age.
Are you saying I'm old?
You're old. I'm older than people think too. We won't say how old we are, but a lot of rests nowadays are good. Keep in mind, you take care of them. A lot of them are pretty decent, but I do see a lot of issues with other rests.
But durability, you're good on the QAD and the Hamskea.
I don't hate it. No, Hamskea wins by a slight edge, but I would have no problem hunting with my QADs. But if I had to pick, end of the world, you're forcing me with
that's right.
with a squirt gun to my head. Brian,
how about noise? Is it an issue?
I don't think
the
so.
old AAEs would go. My carbon shaft would go shh as it came to
and
full
then when
draw.
It came down, it would slap. And then if you try to get it back far enough on certain bows, you couldn't. So you had to have it smack a shelf. And it made noise.
But the QAD and the Hamskea are both
very quiet, in my opinion. Yeah, the Hamskea is, for what it is, this rest is very quiet for a limb-driven rest that comes down and
which
has
one are
so
you?
much tension.
This is the Epsilon. This is what I want to put on mine.
Epsilon.
Is that their newest version?
Yes, sir. Yep, love it. I ran them all. Me and Jeremiah would argue all the time on the old models of Hamskea. Any Hamskea model that you purchase, they're all going to work. They all have great internals. They all have very similar spring systems, but the only difference is this one is smaller and more lightweight. They have the Trinities, which are bigger and more bulky, but they still work.
Yep.
Some of their pro models don't have this outer bearing and the full containment. They do have an exposed launcher, so don't think that every Hamskea has this. They do have some models where this is open and exposed. Jeremiah was running one of those for a little while in the pros. It's actually right here. So here we go. We got all of them. So this is a Hamskea as well. But again, this is where that 50-50 comes in. I don't love this model of Hamskea because that is open. Right. Granted, this is a big chunk of metal, and that's a metal launcher, but that is wide open. If I would have had this one when I had that same fall I talked about earlier, then
could break the
it could have been different.
Yeah.
But then on these ones and on the old Trinities, you have that guard there. So I prefer that one. This one does save you a little bit of money. It's still a sealed bearing on one side. Still great. Still limb driven. Works. But I still think if you're going Hamskea, get either the Trinity, which is their older model, which is going to be like this one on this bow. This is the Trinity, so same bulky size, of the traditional, but it has this on it.
Okay.
So now you get your full containment. The Epsilon just takes all of this, shrinks it down, makes it a smaller package, lighter weight, more compact.
A lot of the new bows are being built to fit the Epsilon.
Yep, and you're reducing bulk. People are starting to figure out that if I can reduce all this bulk and clutter, covers sit tighter, sights sit tighter.
That's a much tighter window as well than what I.
It is smaller.
Yeah,
yep. They did get better on their containment, so it's even a tighter race to the QAD than it ever has been because of that. So.
All right. Well, Cody, thanks, man. Appreciate it, brother.
I know that's a lot of.
This is good stuff from Wilde Arrow Archery. Cody Jones. Where can they find you on Instagram?
Archer.jonesy.
Okay.
And don't get too excited. It's not the greatest. I'm not. I'm not a
You're
professional
not a
Instagrammer.
Socialite?
No, I'll put stuff on. I have my dog on there a lot. If you really like, little Pomskis.
I'd like you to put some arrow
he's a heck of a lot
tips
of fun.
and stuff and archery tips on there.
Yeah. Well,
get to work.
The more I put on social media, the more I'm going to be told I'm wrong and my way's cooler. And if you don't do that,
Yeah.
Yep. Just come in, see me. I'll sit and spend all the time you need.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Stay gritty.